Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. I'm here with my buddy Joseph.
Hello.
And I'm Elsie Hines. And if this is your first episode, which I think this is episode 18 or 19, something like that.
Yeah.
This is a show where we talk about kind of cult film, genre film. This movie specifically is the exact vibe of movie that I started this podcast
There's
for.
a werewolf in the branding.
Yep, exactly. There's a werewolf.
We're crossing that one off today.
In the logo, so we got to do a vampire and a zombie movie next. Today we're sitting here hungry.
Yes.
In the middle of a snowstorm. So, which ironic because last episode we recorded, we were talking about.
We just got bad luck with this.
Yeah, with snow. So we might be interrupted to try to order dinner because there's a freak snowstorm all of a sudden.
Yeah, like 4 inches on the ground.
Literally just came out of nowhere while we were watching this movie. But
everywhere's closed.
Everywhere's closed. We can't order from anywhere, but we're figuring it out. We can scrounge something. But anyway, let's talk about this movie that we just watched.
There were dogs in it.
There were dog soldiers. So just like a little background on wanting to watch this movie, or like a little bit on the viewing of it, which I'm going to show Joseph some what I was talking about as far as like so this movie came out in 2002.
Yeah.
But is the most 80s.
Doesn't seem like it.
Does not seem like it. It's there's definitely purposeful intent with stylistically
big time
trying to be 80s, but also it feels old because it's like an extremely low budget indie movie. Shot on film, 16 millimeter film, so like it automatically just has this 80s Evil Dead kind of like slasher like look to it automatically, just in terms of how it was filmed.
Yeah.
It's
really fun.
And over the years, this movie primarily, so in the UK it got an actual theatrical release, and it was like more popular over there, but in America, it never went to theaters. It just went straight to the Sci-Fi Channel, straight to video.
It's got that energy for sure. It's got that like Sci-Fi Channel original movie feel to it. It's a higher quality than the usual one, but it's got the same vibe.
This is like when you go to the Sci-Fi Channel looking for something dumb to watch. This is like the best.
Yeah, this is best case scenario.
Best case scenario of what you'll find.
Don't expect any like depth or like.
With this movie.
Point. It's just to be a monster movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I don't know what this is ripped from, but I guess the colors look. So every early version I've seen of this movie, just looked terrible because I had like a really crappy DVD, and for the longest time, the only versions of this movie that existed were like really shitty transfers.
Yeah.
You can kind of see here.
Yep.
Yeah, so from this review from years ago, it's like really blown out. The colors.
Yeah, it looks like it's on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Exactly, like they artificially.
It's like super contrasted and.
Yeah, they artificially brightened it a lot. We're looking at Decker Shadow's review, because they artificially brightened it a lot because the movie is like naturally dark.
Yeah,
but I don't think so. So the version that we watched tonight is the Shout Factory, I think 2022. Collector's edition, which
remaster from the original negative,
a 4K remaster from the original negative.
Yep.
So supervised by the director Neil Marshall and the original filmmakers. So like this is the best looking version of the movie that is available.
Yeah.
And beyond just like being higher resolution, they just did a great job with like correcting the color and the lighting.
Yeah. I
feel where like it looks like a real movie now. Or as real as you.
It looks like a real 80s movie.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just like a lot truer. I think the biggest thing, even though the werewolf still look goofy, I feel like the adjustments, at least from my memory, make the werewolves like they're presented a lot better.
I mean, I like the werewolf suits. I think they look pretty cool.
Yeah, like they're a fun design.
Yeah,
and like I like how big they are. But yeah, before we get into the werewolves themselves, so yeah, so I haven't seen this movie since high school. Just as you haven't seen this movie before.
Never seen it. Yeah.
So if someone was to ask you, hey, you saw Dog Soldiers, what's it about? What should I expect when watching Dog Soldiers?
I think I'd say like Sharknado and like those like intentionally bad campy movies.
Asylum.
This is probably like the best version of that because it doesn't like. It's not constantly trying to convince you of how hilarious it is. Like it's actually just trying to be like a monster movie, and you can tell the people who worked on it absolutely knew what they were making.
100%. They knew what they were going for, and there's passion. There's passion behind it for sure.
But it's about I don't know, like a company or like a platoon. I don't know.
Like a little squad.
A group of soldiers on a training exercise
out in the woods.
And werewolves.
Yep. And
then that for an hour and a half.
Yeah, pretty much. Like at first they're in the woods kind of camping.
Yeah. And you get to a house.
And yeah, they find like a camp, another like military camp that's been raided, seemingly attacked by, at first they're like, oh, is it an animal? Like what happened? Yeah. And then they find out it's werewolves.
And Chekhov's letter opener at the beginning.
Oh yeah, the movie opens with a couple going camping, and they're about to get all hot and steamy.
Yeah,
and he
unzips her snow pants.
Unzips her snow pants, but then she gets taken out by the werewolf in a pretty gruesome opening.
She like explodes all over him with blood.
There's a lot of squibs in this movie.
They really like, they really drop the tone right off the bat of like, no, this is going to be a very gory monster movie.
Gory and goofy, especially because like later on we get some intestines just pulled out,
sausages
pulled out and played with like fucking jump rope.
Dog pull, but this guy's girlfriend presents him with a letter opener for some reason or another.
And she's like,
it's made of pure silver.
It's real silver.
Don't worry about it until the end of the movie, I promise.
Chekhov's letter opener.
Yep.
I bet that letter that scene was filmed last.
No, that definitely
100%.
That and the scene where Soap from Call of Duty has to shoot the dog.
Yeah.
By the way, the lead in this movie is the guy who voiced Soap in Modern Warfare 2 and 3, the originals.
Private Cooper, played by Kevin McKidd.
The
voice actor of Soap, which, man, does he have a great voice.
He does.
I
mean, it's kind of like, like the people who made Call of Duty saw this and were like, they saw his reel, more likely, where he's saying military stuff with his cool, deep Scottish voice.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes.
This man.
Yep.
It's so funny because I remember the first time I saw this movie was after I had played it was like late high school was when I watched it, and the whole time I'm like, where do I know his fucking voice from?
It's so
like, he sounds
so like there's no change. Like you could like splice lines from either into either other property and you wouldn't notice.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're just saying so many cool things just constantly.
Yeah. That guy is asked to kill a dog and he doesn't.
Yeah, like it's the scene from Kingsman.
Yes.
So he's like, kill
that dog.
After the couple gets killed, we go to a scene where he's like basically in the middle of like a survival test to be like
he's getting hunted by dogs.
Yeah. Well, he's getting hunted by asshole Mr.
Mr. Douche.
Captain Ryan, played by the Onion Knight from Game of Thrones. And basically they're testing him to join like some kind of special unit, basically.
Yeah.
Like Black Ops, whatever, like a British Navy SEAL thing is, I guess. And the last assignment is that he has to shoot a dog on command, and he refuses to do it.
Seemingly like on a whim from this commander.
Like he kind of came out of nowhere.
Like I said, like they use this dog to hunt him down in the woods, and they find him after like 48 minutes or something, and then he's just like, shoot this dog.
prove your loyalty.
And he doesn't want to. And I'm like, they trained that dog to like find people. Like,
you're saying it's a waste of a.
It's like, why would you have him actually kill the dog? Like, why wouldn't you just like the gun's not loaded or something like that?
Or the blanks, like exactly, just the Kingsman. I was about to say steal the Kingsman thing.
But he's like, I don't want to do it, and then he's like, fine, I'll do it. And he just shoots the dog in front of him. It's like you just wanted the dog to die.
So sad. And this man hates dogs.
Yeah.
He was ready
it's
to
a
shoot.
motif.
He was ready to shoot a dog later in the movie for sure.
Yeah. That guy kind of deserved it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? If we're talking about motifs and themes, any kind of themes of this movie,
Please.
So the title,
Dog
soldiers,
small soldiers.
We find out later, skipping ahead a bit, but we find out that our main squad in this movie, Cooper and his gang, they are bait for these werewolves, and they're considered expendable. And just like the dog in the opening.
Yeah.
So they're treated like dogs.
Yeah,
in
that's
that sense.
true.
So
wow. It shows you something about his character.
They're the dog
They're
soldiers.
dogs to him.
Exactly.
Whoa.
So
this movie's so deep.
This movie's deep. Yeah.
It's not.
Not at all. Basically, so like the first half, or I'd say like the first act, is them getting surprised in the woods, and then they come upon a car they come upon a road, and there's a woman in a Jeep. What's the character's name? Megan. Who's the worst performance in this movie.
She's not a very good actress, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, you don't need to be in this movie,
yeah.
but
honestly, she's getting outshined by
everybody.
Everyone's giving 110% in this movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel like all the military guys, they have great chemistry with one another.
They do, yeah.
You can
even though I couldn't pick any of them out opposite of any of the others, they're all the exact same pasty shade of English.
They're all just bald, buzz-cutted guys who want to watch football.
Who just want to talk about how much they want to watch the footy.
Yeah, they're really hard to tell.
As a championship guy, and I'm not going to do an accent.
Pretty much the line of these four guys, Spoon, Joe, Terry, and Bruce, are all the same guy cloned 4 times.
Yeah, it's okay. We need people for the dogs to kill.
Exactly. We need werewolf fodder.
It's fine. They still have some pretty interesting personality, I guess.
Yeah, no, they've all got their thing. Spoon's is my favorite one. He's the goofiest one.
Yeah.
He finds the sword and is practicing with the sword. That's him.
There's a sword in this house.
Yeah.
Which I guess, spoiler alert. Let's get into spoilers, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Full spoilers for this movie. Cheesy movie 2002, which, if you don't want any more...
You'll be fine. You don't have to worry.
Short review is I recommend it. It's fun.
Yeah. Don't expect much, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Get a joint.
Yes.
Fucking...
There's a sword, and they hole up in this house in this little countryside, and there's this medieval ass sword, which kind of makes sense because, as it turns out, the whole family that lived in this house are the werewolves that are hunting them.
You see a cute picture of the family. I like that you never see them in their human form.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, that's too many actors.
Whatever. I'm sure that was a later decision.
I would like to make it the family.
I don't know. Maybe.
Perhaps.
But yeah, this is the family, and Megan has some of the worst lines I've ever heard in any fucking movie ever. The low point of the movie for me. I mean, it's worth saying because
it was a pretty shitty twist, but definitely how they executed it didn't
funny.
help.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole movie's kind of funny, but I mean this was oof. So she says that I've betrayed you later on she basically has betrayed the rest of the platoon, and this guy's fucking women.
Oh.
Classic.
And, real misogyny vibe.
And she's you think all women are bitches, but I'm the real deal. And that's how she reveals that she's a dog.
I'm sorry, Coop. It's just that time of the month.
Yeah, she says that time of the month. In hindsight, the lines are starting to grow on me a little bit. Yeah. They're kind of funny.
Yeah, no, just these guys only really speak in one-liners.
Yeah, it's honestly this movie really wants to be Predator.
Yeah, no, it wants to be Predator and Aliens.
Yes.
So bad. But they
worst things to want to be for a B movie.
Yeah, they can't afford H.R. Giger's creature design, though.
I do like the suits, though.
Yeah, the suits are cool.
They look a little goofy in broad daylight, but they're very well sculpted.
Yeah.
They look professionally done.
Yeah, no, I think that the quote-unquote goofiest parts of the suit, the least good-looking, are the heads.
Yeah.
I think they have some animatronics. There's some close-ups where you see the mouth snarling or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think if they could just emote a little more.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that you don't... They like to show them in very short bursts, which is the right way to do it. This is a very well-directed movie.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Yeah.
Well, smart.
Smartly made, I guess.
Smartly made. Well,
I wouldn't call the movie smart.
Well put together for this. They utilize their budget very well. They utilize like the location as well as they can. Like I feel like they get the most out of this like little farm like country house.
Yeah.
They
really do. Yeah.
You know, they have a good time with the environment, especially towards the end when they start like fucking destroying this house.
Yeah, they're like there's a part they're upstairs and then they just shoot the floor out from under them to escape the werewolves to fall underneath, and it's pretty cool. It's really clever.
It's pretty sick. They shoot like a hole through and they go through. That reminded me of, and I wonder if this was a reference to this. Have you ever seen the Raid movies?
No, I know of them.
Yeah, they're these
it's like Dread without sci-fi.
Pretty much, they're these Indonesian. They're martial arts films. They're these Indonesian martial arts films. The first one is the plot of Dread, where it's like they're stuck in a big apartment complex and the drug kingpin's at the top. And there's a scene where like it's literally the scene in Dog Soldiers where they're like in an apartment and the bad guy's trying to come through the door, so they shoot a hole. They axe a hole through the floor.
That's pretty cool.
And they go downstairs.
It's clever. I like it.
Yeah, it was a fun little
using the set.
Yeah, it's a fun little scene. There were some pretty good shots in that too. Like there's a shot when the dude is like burning, he's using the air freshener and like burning the werewolf through the door. And like he's sitting on the toilet and there's like a shot from like the ground below the toilet.
The gooch shot.
And it was actually pretty cool because you could see like the werewolf hand trying to come through.
Yeah, I like the werewolf hands.
Yeah.
Like the big they're not afraid to show whole ass arms just reaching in and like lunging around like they're in a car at one point.
Yeah. I mean the makeup on the arms and shit is all great.
I mean, it's all great. I mean, I do like there's one shot where you see all three werewolves at once and you could tell that they're on stilts and they're kind of like trying to like steady themselves by like holding on to like the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah, the first time
so they don't fall over.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. The first time you see one fully is when it's coming through the window, and it was actually a pretty like impactful shot because they're so big.
Yeah, they are big. Yeah,
that's probably,
I like it.
Yeah, that's probably the best. The thing that is the most serious about them, or like what makes them really intimidating, is that they are pretty fucking massive.
Yeah, I think they're a really cool design, especially because like you mentioned, they could have just done like horrible Sci-Fi Channel CGI for them, and the movie would have dropped like 2 letter grades.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It also would have immediately. It's gonna sound weird, but it would have immediately dated it.
Yeah.
In a way that like, oh, this is very obviously like early
2000s, low budget.
Versus like, I think
this could be 90s, 80s. Yeah.
I think the first time I saw this, I didn't know when it took place or when it came out.
When it was made, yeah.
And I think I assumed it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
No.
100%. So yeah, in the middle of this movie, there's like a lot of like good little moments. Like I love the scene where like they're trying to super glue. So like the characters, Wells, Sergeant Harry G. Wells, which is a reference to H.G. Wells.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, it is.
Sergeant Harry G. Wells.
Interesting choice.
He gets his, he's the guy whose intestines.
He gets disemboweled and his sausages come out of his stomach.
Yeah, and Cooper and Megan are trying to like glue his stomach back together.
And he's all like high on pain pills and wine or whiskey. Yeah.
And he's like, "You need to fucking knock me out, hit me." And then he hits him, and then he's like, "Oh, you need to fucking you can hit harder than that." And then he just fucking
hits him again,
knocks him, and it's so
he's like all messed up, and he's like, "I love you, man. I love this guy."
It's so goddamn funny. Like you said while we were watching it. If we had seen this movie at like 13 years old,
it would have been the coolest thing ever. It would have been one of my favorite movies,
of all time.
Yes.
And it does have just like, I don't know. It's just got a great energy to it. Like,
it's very light.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see like, and it's not light. That's why I brought up Sharknado. It's not like it doesn't drop the facade of taking itself seriously for the whole time, and it lets you laugh at it. It's not necessarily like overly concerned with like, just let you know that you're laughing with us, not at us. Like, it knows exactly like what it is and what it's going to try to do. Like, there's a part, the same guy who is disemboweled is like laying there and like he's just like holding his guts in, and there's a dog there, and the dog like grabs onto his small intestine, is like pulling it like it's playing tug of war.
Yeah.
And it's played completely straight, like ah.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
But it's not like jokey. It's not like trying to be like, look how ridiculous this is. It just actually is.
Exactly. Like it's almost, the humor in this is almost kind of like naturalistic in a way, where it's like the characters are still like, you know, they're like having a laugh about all of it. And you know what I realized, like now I'm thinking about it, this movie does what I think all movies of this kind of like, we're trapped surrounded by creatures, or like we're being like, that Predator and Alien do really, really well.
Yeah.
And Predator and Aliens specifically. Or Aliens is the one I'm thinking about the most, as far as like, you never feel like the characters are truly safe.
No, yeah.
And also,
they could just come back any moment.
And they're also always on edge. Like, I love the little moment. There's like a little moment that like, it's kind of built for laughs, but I think it's a nice little character beat where like the dog, they're all sitting there chilling, and the dog just barks.
Yeah,
something,
and they all freak out. Yeah,
and they all freak out, grab their guns, like what's going on, you know? And then
they're scared of the dogs.
Yeah, because they're worried about werewolves, and like I feel like that's just like, that was like a nice little character moment to show that like these characters are, you know, paranoid.
There's a lot of pretty good like dog moments. There's like
yeah,
they're like the dog soldier, the werewolves break in, and one of the guys just like picks up a stick.
Oh yeah, I mean, he tries to play fetch with it.
Like, go fetch,
and it works for a second.
The werewolf almost goes for it. It's that kind of movie.
That's when Ryan turns into a werewolf.
Yeah,
and he gets stabbed in the chest with the sword, and it doesn't do anything.
Yep.
Which, you know,
it's not silver, I guess.
You know what else? That is that's another one of my favorite things. Like these kind of creature movies, is that like once you give a monster a defining like once you like injure it in a way that gives it a defining characteristic, that motherfucker's making it till the end. Like he's got the sword through the chest, so that way later on you see it's the sword, and you're like, oh, that's Ryan.
Absolutely.
Just like in have you seen Tremors?
Yes.
Like that first worm they encounter, they cut one of its things off.
Well, yeah. And so you can see when it comes back, it's like, oh, it's that one. We've got history.
And that's the last one. Yeah. And then you know, Valentine's like, you know, like, oh, I got beef for this motherfucker. Or like in, I guess it barely matters in Alien vs. Predator, but there's an alien that gets the Predator net on its face.
Yeah.
And it gets like a grid, and
that's like rule one, I think, of these movies.
Yeah, don't go to defining characteristic.
One of them needs to be like the main antagonist, that like when that one dies, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. That's a pretty quick way to give that is a pretty quick and efficient way in a movie to give a monster amongst multiple monsters like a personality, like more of a personality, just by in that giving the audience a way to tell that like, oh, that's that specific one from earlier. Automatically makes it so that you add more personality and weight to it.
There's more. Yeah, it's more to the conflict.
Yeah,
it's more personal. I am a little confused about the rules
of this movie.
It was never really solidly established that it has to be something silver that kills them, because at the very end, he does stab the werewolf with the letter opener in the chest,
it in the head with
and then he just shoots it in the head. So it's like maybe its weakness was just getting shot in the head.
I think it's a kryptonite type situation where like silver weak.
Now I can I don't know.
I think that's what they're implying, is that
found its weakness. Bullets.
Like when silver is around it, it's weakened, like
and
Superman.
Also blowing up in fire, I guess.
He's also being shot in the head. Well, yeah, maybe being shot in the head does do it, because he shoots what's her name, Megan, in the head when she transforms.
And a lot of like the rest of them just blew up.
Yeah.
I think the silver thing's like a red herring.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell, because like I feel like you can. Yeah, like did they blow up one completely? I think they did.
They blew up the house. And
yeah,
like they were. I think the rest of them were in there, weren't they?
Yes, everyone. It blew up.
Man, my eyes glazed over toward the end there.
It blew up all but Ryan with the sword in his chest.
Yeah, the last one that he stabbed and then shot in the head.
Yeah, and I love that last line. You tried to lick your balls yet? Oh yeah, you don't have any. In fact, what's the last thing he said? You think it's over? It's not. No, just
what a goofy ass movie. It really does want to be Predator so bad.
Yeah, no, it very much is. Like, it almost feels like
it'd be a good double feature with Predator.
Absolutely, or like any of these kind of like, these were my favorite kind of movies growing up, and I definitely have a soft spot just for like a a contained, like, we're trying to survive type situation.
Yeah.
And I think it's another reason why, like, we were talking about Left 4 Dead when we were watching the movies, where it's like, that's such a fun...
It's so simple.
Yeah, no, as the gamify, like, those were always, like, my favorite modes, like, in any kind of game, where it's like a survival, you and your bros against like mobs of creatures.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I really want
survive in this house.
Yeah, that's why I wish Aliens Colonial Marines was good.
Don't we all?
Because I've heard, I gotta try Aliens Fire Team, because I've heard good things about it.
I have it. It was free, and I never opened it.
Yeah, no, I downloaded it on PlayStation Plus too, and I never owned it.
Yeah,
that'll be our streamer.
There we go. Yeah.
Our first game stream.
Yeah,
Midnight mid gang movie night.
Game gang.
Midnight movie game.
There we go.
Midnight movie game.
Yep.
There we go. And Aliens.
I am 100% down for Midnight movie game. I've got plenty of recommendations.
That will be fun.
Yep.
It'll be a big event. We'll stream Aliens Fire Team.
Pick do Colonial Marines and just pick really bad games.
Yeah. Is Colonial Marines even still available to play, like, on anything?
If you get a hard copy for PS3, I imagine.
I was about to ask, so I forgot if it was PS3 or PS4.
It's PS3 because they had to split up the team that was making Borderlands, which is why the game is so much like Borderlands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a Gearbox, right?
Yep.
That was another reason why I thought it was going to be so good, because I love the Borderlands games.
Yep. No, this is like their B team, and there was rushed, and there was like an obligation. There's just like no love behind it, from what I understand.
Damn. Yep. Windows, PS3.
70% like this video game, though.
It's still,
Google users.
It's still on Windows.
Google users are idiots.
I'm going to get back into PC gaming at some point. Once I can, like... It's a loose thing. Like, once I have the money for it, I'll have a... Not a super high-end PC, but, like, a nice little mid-gaming rig.
Yeah. Honestly, my gaming needs are satisfied by a console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between my PS5 and my Switch, I'm pretty damn
I already don't have enough time to actually play, so...
Yeah. You might be able to get Colonial Marines on, like, if you have PlayStation Plus Premium, maybe?
Maybe. I doubt it. Don't count on it.
Yeah. Anyway, so with Dog Soldiers, I guess in that, so we covered the whole plot pretty much, yeah, so...
Yeah, we covered my least favorite line.
Ryan's Zora. We could talk a little bit about...
Which is now my favorite line.
Ryan and Cooper definitely have sexual chemistry in this movie. Like,
Wells. It was big time, like, Sam and Frodo energy, where it's like, one's like, oh, you, and the other's like, I love you so much.
They were just best friends. And they established it from the beginning, like, how tight they were, and how, like, you know, like, hey, Wells goes up to him, and he's like, you know what, like, I know it sucks that you didn't make the super special squad, but I'm glad that you're here, man.
But you're super special to me.
Yeah. Another trope in this movie, like, the instant I knew that, like, Ryan was gonna die was, like, was when he's like, oh, yeah, no, I can't wait to get back to my wife.
Yeah, he's got a picture of his wife. Oh, that motherfucker's dying.
Yep. No, he's just instantly talking about his wife. Yeah, if you don't have a wife and don't have kids in a horror movie, because you're not fucking making it.
If you do, don't bring them up.
Yeah. Ryan went out in a pretty badass way.
He did.
Like, while he was mid-werewolf transforming... He's, like, cutting the gas line on the stove.
He blew up the whole ass house.
With him and the werewolves.
Which are really cool miniature they blew up. Yeah. I wonder how big that was.
It was a good explosion.
Yeah. Really good explosion. There's a couple good explosions in this movie. This movie had a budget of 2 million euros, right? 2 million.
Is it a euro? Is that the euro logo?
That's pounds.
Pounds. Oh, 2 million.
2.3 million pounds. And it made 5 million at the box office. So.
Yeah.
It probably broke even.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it was a thing where it was like, it wasn't a huge theatrical. It's become a cult classic over the years through like these kind of means.
You definitely, I honestly do recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a very good, like, I don't know, substance and movie.
It is a lot of fun. We would have gotten high if I didn't have work somewhat early.
If we weren't recording a podcast where we don't just want to be like, oh,
probably,
this is funny.
Well, it's probably sooner than next Halloween, but definitely next Halloween we're going to get high and watch. So the development director in 1995. He was working on it since 1995.
Damn.
The film contains references.
Damn, really? for like 7 years.
Yeah, no, he was really.
You can kind of see it. You can see passion behind it.
Working on it. The film premiered as a Sci-Fi Pictures telefilm on the Sci-Fi Channel.
And what did this director go on to do? A bunch of?
So Neil Marshall, primarily, so he directed The Descent in 2005, which was a pretty successful horror film.
It's like in the spelunking movie, right?
Yeah, it's about these 6 women who are
Chuds,
going
right?
cave diving, and they get stuck in the cave, and they're weird creatures.
There's chuds under there.
Yeah, in the cave. It's a good movie. It's a fun one.
I confused that with the Riddick movie.
It could definitely be one. Me and Courtney watched it last year, and we had a good time with it. But I wouldn't mind watching it again. It's also got
The Descent.
The historical war film Centurion, which I've never heard of.
Uh-oh.
Look, Michael Fassbender.
It looks like a flop.
And he's a gladiator.
Let's see how much.
They received mixed reviews.
It only earned half of its $12 million budget.
Oof.
Yeah. That you ever look at a poster for a movie and immediately know that movie did not do well at all?
Yeah. No, who's going to go see The Centurion?
Yes. Oh, my God. Could be good, though. Who knows?
And then Hellboy
Probably not.
2019 with
not a great track record.
David Harbour, which I was
films go.
Pretty disappointed in.
You saw it?
Yeah, I did see it.
What'd you think? You're the only person I know that saw that.
Really? I saw it in theaters. Yeah.
I was kind of excited, and then the reviews came in, and I was like,
I loved the idea of David Harbour as Hellboy.
I like the redesign.
I don't know. When you watch it, his face kind of looks scrunched up in the makeup, honestly.
Oh.
The best part of this movie, let me see. They dropped the first poster for it, and this poster is like the best part of the movie. Let me see if I can find it. Was like an initial, it's not the one that you see of him holding the gun. Let me see if I can find it. It's like
there it is, where he's holding the sword.
Where he's holding the sword, yeah. Where the
I remember seeing that with like he's got his horns grown out.
This poster is fucking incredible.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, holy shit, this movie might be good.
Yeah, for people listening at home, it's just like he's
holding a sword over his shoulder like the comic.
He's like drenched in blood and his like horns are on fire.
Are all grown out.
And like that's Hell Man right there.
Yeah.
That's not Hellboy.
Yeah. Should do a Hellboy episode.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Ooh, a Guillermo del Toro Hellboy.
Both
yes, because
I
love
those movies.
Del Toro is probably.
I've never seen Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim is great. I love Pacific Rim.
Shape of Water was good.
Shape of Water was a lot of fun. I
wish he could have got to make The Hobbit.
Yeah, no, he was originally posted to do so.
He was doing like 2 years of pre-production on that.
Yeah, he's incredible. That
would have been great.
I love how he kind of takes fantasy stuff because he strikes such a perfect balance with like fantasy stuff when like making it feel really real.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is because all of his movies, with the even with Pacific Rim, have a heavy scent, like they use a lot of practical effects.
Yeah.
And in Pacific Rim, there's a good amount of practical effects in
he
like
actually built those robots.
Well, just like the cockpits and stuff that they're in are very well realized, like with real shit. But
I like his use of color. I think that's like the main thing I look for is like I just like his visual style.
Yeah, his movies are really beautiful.
Yeah, like his blues and reds.
Shape of Water was definitely was one of my favorite movie. Was my favorite movie of that year.
Yeah,
for sure. And Shape of Water, when I saw that, I'm like, damn, this man needs to do a BioShock movie.
Right man.
Now. That would fucking...
That's the coolest thing ever. That's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, and even if it did,
man,
the studio would ruin it.
Yeah, it would. And they're making that series now. I'm not excited about it all. I have BioShock tattoos, by the way. That's how much I love the series. That's what these are.
Yeah. I've got the BioShock collection. I still need to finish... I started Infinite, and I was really enjoying it, and I need to finish it. Because growing up, I only played BioShock 2 growing up.
Oh, dude.
That was the only one I had.
They're all good.
Yeah.
Infinite's got its issues, but they're still a good game. Yeah. They're all great.
I was having fun with them, but I got to finish it. Yeah, I have the collection.
2 might be the peak, but like gameplay-wise, but...
Want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
My, so in college, I took these 2 classes... they were both, I forget what the second one was called, but they were like video game writing classes. Like I took them as elective.
Cool.
And our professor, I'm forgetting his name, which sucks because he was like one of my favorite professors. He was the writer of BioShock 2.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's sick.
We talked about, he was super cool. He's this British guy.
I love that game.
We talked a lot about, it was around when the movie Yesterday was coming out, and I was telling him how excited I was about Yesterday. And
okay.
He was like friends with Richard Curtis, the writer of Yesterday, and we were just chatting about it. But
my writing professor wrote a couple episodes of Married with Children, and that's what he did.
That's pretty sick. That one was a fun one. My favorite assignment. I put so much work into it too. There was an assignment where we had to take an existing IP and like design a video. Like we would not make the game, but like make a presentation and like talk about like how we would design a game based on intellectual property and stuff. Like how it would be, what kind of game it would be.
That's cool.
Estimated budget. And I chose the Gorillas.
Interesting.
And I designed like a Gorillas video game.
Whoa.
And my concept was like
a platformer.
It was like a Streets of Rage style, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World game, beat 'em up. But so my concept was there were going to be 3 big sections with multiple, like 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 was the Gorillaz self-titled album. Chapter 2 is why am I forgetting the name? The Feel Good Inc. album, which I can't remember right now, but their second album, Demon Days.
Demon Days.
And then the 3rd chapter would end with Plastic Beach.
Okay.
And the final level would be like a big boss fight on like the trash island or whatever.
That's sick.
And like the idea is at the end of every chapter was like a big like Guitar Hero style section of like the biggest song from that album.
Yeah.
And I got an A+ on it. He was really impressed with, and I came up with controls too.
Damn,
like,
dude.
Yeah.
Go make some games.
Yeah, it was a fun one. And I love it's so stupid, but I remember I voiced out in the presentation like what the opening would be. And it's like Murdoch and Tootie having a conversation like, Murdy, they're making a game about us. And then Murdoch's like, Gorillas, the game. Who the fuck would want to play that? You know? One sec. Sorry, we had a little, oh shit, what happened? Oh, there we go. We had a little food pause. What's up? It's your boy, Miles Morales.
He's wearing a Spider-Man mask now.
I put on my Miles Morales mask.
Well, it's Spider-Man, dude. Don't give away his secret identity.
Oh shit! Fuck my black Spider-Man mask.
Don't call him that, dude.
I was talking about the Gorillas video game. I was like, I gotta take this off. I was talking about the Gorillas video game. And we were talking about dog soldiers, and yeah, no, there are some plot holes, but yeah, it's a fun movie.
It's fun. There are plot holes, though. I don't know why they didn't just drive away.
We're talking about Hellboy. That's what we were talking about.
We were talking about Hellboy, and then you were talking about the Gorillas game.
Yes, but I didn't get to finish my thoughts on Hellboy 2019.
Oh, yeah.
So, I feel like the way they wrote David Harbour's Hellboy is like he's like a teenage metalhead who like is just like kind of just whiny.
That's not like far off from the Del Toro Hellboy, though. I mean, it's not. That's honestly, I think, just what Hellboy is. I think he just complains a lot.
No, but like with Ron Perlman, it was an element of like, how do I put it?
He's supposed to be like an angsty teenager, essentially.
I feel like with Ron Perlman, it was more like he was just kind of like that because he wasn't exposed to like other people.
Yeah,
like he's lonely and he wants
like constantly complaining about.
Yeah, and there's this element of like he wants to be accepted by humanity, and like he feels like an outsider, and they don't have any of that depth with David Harbour's version of the character. Really, he's just kind of like complainy.
Man.
Also, there's no. Outside of Hellboy himself, everything is CGI.
Oh.
Like, there are no practical creatures in that fucking movie at all.
Oh, man.
Whereas, like...
God, I need to rewatch Hellboy. Now, you're not just reminding me about how cool those movies are.
Dude, Hellboy 2 Golden
those
Army...
are so cool.
Fucking rips. Dude, the troll market... The troll market in Hellboy 2... The Golden Army is my, like, cantina scene from Star Wars.
It's so cool.
Because there's just so many creatures.
The Tooth Fairy shit, dude.
Dude, the Tooth Fairies looked fucking sick.
This is our Hellboy episode.
Yeah, we need to do a whole Del Toro. We could do a Del Toro saga.
Yeah.
Because he's probably one of my favorite filmmakers. We were just talking about Del Toro in general, but, like...
Del Toro remake of Dog Soldiers.
He rides a really good line between, like... realism and like the kind of
fantasy
fairy tale
man, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, like fairy tale shit. Like I think somebody described Pan's Labyrinth and Shape of Water as like fairy tales for adults.
They are, yeah. That's just like his whole thing. That's why The Hobbit, man. Fucking
Yeah.
Peter Jackson. I'll make 3 movies out of this children's book now, actually.
Yeah, no, it's just I blame more the studio than
Yeah.
Peter Jackson because originally they planned it to be one movie, but it was a whole thing. But with Del Toro, even his movies that have like Pacific Rim being one, they still do a lot to like sell realistic elements. Like I love how like weighty the robots feel.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like emphasis there. They do a lot in that movie to like just remind you how big these things are in terms of the speed. There's like nice close-up shots where you see like all this water coming off of their like fists and shit.
My only frame of reference is the big robot fight in Spy Kids 3D.
That's peak cinema.
Featuring Elijah Wood, who was in Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
It comes full circle.
there's the connection. Yeah, no, but with fucking yeah, no, Del Toro's great.
Yes.
And yeah, we could definitely do a Hellboy. He could do a remake of Dog Soldiers. I feel like you could definitely tell that they were thinking about other kind of creature spinoffs with this movie too. Like, I think I read
they
here-
were like, who knows what else is real?
yeah, you know, vampires definitely seems like the next logical step.
Vampire soldiers or dog
Yeah.
vampires.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like werewolves is more. I feel like there isn't as much modern werewolf content.
No.
I feel like there was a string for a while where we were seeing some werewolf, like Benicio del Toro's The Wolfman.
Hey man, that Twilight fever, dude.
That's true. Twilight ruined werewolves.
There was that, and then we got superheroes, and we're still on that.
That's true. I mean, I still feel like we get a lot of vampire content every night. Like we just got that Dracula movie.
Renfield?
No. The on the boat. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, Dracula on a Boat, the movie.
Yeah, you know.
I have no idea.
I forget.
Is that Nosferatu remake
No,
or something?
like Dracula on a boat. Wait, no, it just came out.
Dracula on a boat.
That's not the name of
He's
the movie.
Googling Dracula on a boat.
I'm trying to remember what it was called. The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
The Demeter.
Yes.
2023.
Did you hear about this movie?
No.
Oh, I heard it was decent. No, it's based off of like, it's about Bram.
Box office bomb.
Yeah, but I heard nobody saw it, but I heard it got good reviews.
Made
And it,
21.7 on a $45 million budget.
not great. But basically,
Oof.
it's about so it's about
That's what that happens in Nosferatu. They're like transporting his body, and he eats people like on the way.
yeah,
right?
no. But it's like, how do I put it? It's that Dracula story. It's from whatever like the Dracula vampire story is, but it is like an expanded version of that section where he's on the boat. So it's like, yeah, Dracula's being transported on the boat. Some dumbass wakes him up, and
Should have just called it Vampire on a Boat, dude.
Dracula on a
Dracula
boat.
on a boat. That would have. I think that would have raised the amount of money.
Yeah,
It's like Snakes on a Plane.
Or they should have just it was marketed as Last Voyage of the Demeter. It should have been marketed purely under this secondary title here, Dracula
Voyage of the Demeter.
People got to know it's Dracula.
Vampire movie.
Yes, please come see it. Not because from that
The
title.
Last Voyage of the Demeter. Like, listen, I like that title. That's not the title you use if you want to make this money, like make money on this movie.
People are dumb. They need to know that it's Dracula.
I think it's a cool title, but I think that they should have gone with Dracula.
Yeah.
They could have just called it Dracula. It would have made a lot more money.
Yeah. Before we get into, I think it seems like we're out of things to talk about with Dog Soldiers. It's a fun time.
What? Are you telling me The Last Voyage of the Demeter is not related to Dog Soldiers?
It is, because creatures, vampires. But before I want to get to the prop question.
Oh yeah,
but which I think there's a good amount of options in this movie.
Yeah,
but
I got one. My mind just jumped to.
Before we get to that, what kind of tea are we drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking vanilla chai like the last 5 times.
Bigelow vanilla chai.
Delicious.
I don't want to be drinking caffeine at this time. I had a cup of coffee earlier, and that's got me going. I just had some Swiss Miss hot chocolate.
Hell yeah!
And it was fucking delicious.
Mm-mm-mm.
So yeah, props. From Dog Soldiers, what prop would you want to steal?
I want the dog hand.
You want the dog hand? Oh, that's a good one.
They get
the werewolf hand.
Yeah, they chop off the dog's hand with a sword, and then it's just like hanging on to the guy where it was holding on before, and he's like, "Thanks, bruv."
That's so good. Oh, it's a smart one.
The dog hand.
Jesus, that's good. Damn, I feel I just got a basic answer.
Let's hear it.
I want the sword.
Yeah, it's a good sword.
Yeah, the sword
Looks old.
Maybe the letter. I don't know. The letter opener doesn't look as cool.
I kind of like the way the letter opener looks.
It's a little silver.
It's almost like a steak.
Yeah.
It does look like a corporate award, though, which I think is what it is.
Maybe I want the sword covered in blood. Oh, I'm going to say, amazing, like, during the final boss fight of this movie, which I think is a really fun little fight scene.
Yeah.
Like, the werewolf with the sword in his chest is, like, pulling soap towards him and, like, scraping his teeth against the fucking sword.
They play this like really loud sound of the sword
scraping,
squeaking against his teeth.
Yeah, and it's
like the most like cringe moment. Like,
uncomfortable.
It's really good.
Like I feel like this movie, it's really creative with its action sequences. It's paced really well.
You can tell it's a passion project for sure.
Yeah, no, like it's just like a really fun little movie.
Most of these like monster B movies that end up on the Sci-Fi Channel, like you can tell that no one really cared that much about it. It's just like something to put on, like borderline like money laundering scheme.
Yeah,
this is not that.
I will say, like, it's just this kind of movie just is my kind of movie. This Tremors.
Okay,
it's one of the reasons why I think, like, and not a lot of people.
Yeah, go for it.
I thought you were pointing toward, like,
no, it was like I have a point to make after you.
Yeah. But, like, that's one of the reasons why I love a lot, and I know a lot of people didn't. I think that Nope, the movie Nope, is a love letter to these kind of movies.
Kind of, yeah.
It is the serious take of this kind of like middle of nowhere creature feature.
Yeah.
Like an elevated version of that.
Honestly, have you seen you haven't seen 28 Weeks Later?
I have, yeah.
You've seen Weeks? Okay.
Yeah, Weeks. That's one where she's the two
like
kids.
The first movie is like this like contemplative, like thoughtful journey across like post-apocalyptic England. And the second movie is a dumb monster movie with like surviving like waves of these monsters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. It's like a version of that. Yeah, it's like the same exact tone too.
Hell yeah.
It's like Aliens but with zombies.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's I love these kind of movies.
They're fun.
They're the basis of my thing, and they're the whole reason I started this pod.
And AVPR is the worst example.
Yeah, and AVPR is the worst. I've been thinking about I went when I was going through editing, I was just listening to all of our points, and I was like, yeah, it sucks because like.
I think I repeated myself too many times about how I couldn't see what the fuck was going on.
No, you're good. I just think the point, I remember one of us made a point in there how like the idea of like there's an alien situation and then one predator shows up to like deal with it is much better than the reverse, like as a concept.
Yeah.
Conceptually, I think Alien vs. Predator Requiem has like better ideas, but it's all about the execution.
Yeah.
The execution of that movie is just bad.
No, it's a very. Did you know that that's a bad movie?
It's really
Don't
bad.
watch it. It's not good.
We got a few listens on our commentary track.
Oh, sick.
I don't know how many. I haven't looked at. I don't think it tells me the retention yet. If people like really, I really hope that somebody has watched it with our full commentary track.
Yeah,
that's really funny to me. Also, I
hope so too.
I want to. We should do a commentary track where we watch it with our commentary and comment.
That wouldn't be like migraine inducing or anything.
No, I do want to watch it with our commentary though.
I hope we made that viewing experience a little more enjoyable.
I think so. I think anything could fucking make it.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
bash me on the head with a hammer and make it more fun.
So now we're about to go watch An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Which is a fun. I haven't seen it in a while. I think I've only seen it once, and I wasn't super paying attention to it. I feel like this is going to be a better viewing experience. Once again, it's another 4K upgraded thing.
Sick.
It's famous for a particular.
I've seen the transformation scene.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen bits.
Oh, bits of it. Yeah. Well, it's famous for that transformation scene. But yeah, no. So we'll be back with that, people. It'll be instantaneous for you. Thank you for listening to our review of Dog Soldiers, and we highly recommend it.
Yes.
Good night.
Watch it.
Hello. We're back. For you, it was instantaneous. For us, it was about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I was reading the box. I think 91 minutes.
Wow. Right under the wire.
Yeah. We just watched John Landis's 1981 film American Werewolf in London.
Yep.
And American Werewolf in London. Another 4K old version from Arrow Video boutique Blu-ray label.
You know, a lot of movies feel like they're like cut down from, or like they're padded to try to like hit 91 minutes. This feels like it was like an imperative to be 91 minutes. So they cut a lot out at the end.
No, absolutely. It does definitely feel like they
got out of there.
Exactly. Like no time to develop. Just go. Like I feel like it was the case with the characters at the beginning.
I'm not upset about it though. I like the pacing in this movie a lot.
Yeah, it moves pretty quick. It definitely has. Well, we'll get into it before we get into opinions about it. Yeah, directed by John Landis. So what is An American Werewolf in London about for people? Full spoilers, by the way.
All right,
for people at home.
Get this: there's an American werewolf in London.
Oh shit!
Honestly, that is pretty much like it's like a college kid gets bit by a werewolf. He's stranded in London.
Yep.
He knows he's gonna kill people.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah, I do really love the This movie is much weirder than I remember. I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I saw this movie probably my freshman year of high school, and I hadn't watched it since, because beyond the transformation scene back then, there wasn't really anything that like particularly hit me about it. But this time around, it definitely gave me a lot more to think about.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It's directed by John Landis. And you can see that it's a comedy director. Written and directed by John Landis.
Coming to America. Oh, yeah, he did direct Coming to America.
Yeah, it's like half a comedy, honestly, and that's not what I expected. I thought it's not very self-serious at all.
No.
But when it does need to drop that comedy and be serious,
it gets fucking serious quick.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
A lot of the seriousness comes down to the makeup and practical effects.
Yeah,
which
is done by who, by the way? Is that done by? I want to say that was Rob Bottin.
1 second, who? That's the guy who did The Thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was in awe a lot, like by the makeup and practical effects in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it went way harder than it had to.
The first like major one you see is
Rick Baker.
Yeah, Rick Baker.
The other guy.
Let's see. What else has he worked on? Rick Baker.
I think he's fairly prolific.
Yeah, no, I've heard that name before for sure.
Yeah.
I want to say he did Star Wars stuff, but god damn it, I can't type on my iPad.
Rick Baker.
But that just might be because I'm thinking of Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2.
It's the same guy, whatever.
Rick Baker, retired special effects makeup designer. He's most well known, he's won the Academy Award for Best Makeup 7 times.
Wow.
For what movies? Let's see. We'll go down to his filmography.
King Kong.
Empire Strikes Back, yeah. So I was correct about Star Wars. Makeup, yeah, so I wasn't wrong.
It's Incredible Melting Man.
Yeah, The Incredible Shrinking Woman. So The Howling is another werewolf movie that has a lot of similar werewolf effects.
I've seen that.
Starman, that makes sense.
I mean, like, there's a part. So when he's attacked by the werewolf, he's with his friend, and his friend just gets killed. So his friend comes back as a ghost, like haunting him, saying like everyone who's killed by a werewolf is basically undead and can't move on until the werewolf dies.
Exactly, they're stuck in limbo, just like walking the earth.
But his friend's makeup is absolutely insane.
The first time you see, I think Jack goes through different stages
as he's decomposing.
In my opinion, the most impressive looking is the first time you see him.
Yeah, with the fresh wounds.
And it really is
it's so graphic,
just like everything about it. Like you see,
it looks so painful.
It looks painful. There's like so much depth in his face.
Yeah,
with like just the depth of like his wounds and just pieces of skin like protruding out, and just you see the bone and the muscles and stuff.
Yeah, you see like his trachea torn open and stuff.
Yeah, no, it really is
like bits hanging off of his face. Yeah,
exactly. It really is. And I always remember he has one little wiggly part. There's like one little dangly piece of flesh that just wiggles.
Yeah, it's great. And then he kind of becomes like a zombie. He looks kind of like the one zombie in Scrooged. The old guy. Yeah. That kind of looks like that, and then he comes back again, and he's just a full-on puppet.
He's a skeleton. I mean, it looks great. You can
see his eyeball, and you can they have like his hole in his cheeks. So they can do all kinds of stuff with him as a puppet.
When he's in the porn theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I had a really good time with this movie. It's another movie that I don't think has a lot to say, but is just entertaining throughout and really good at just delivering on a premise.
Definitely feel like it has more to say than Dog Soldiers.
Maybe.
That's for damn sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I really appreciated all the dream sequences this time around.
Yeah. I thought that I'm always like turned off by like the whole like you wake up from a nightmare and you're still in the nightmare. I think that's overdone and overplayed. This was 1981, so I doubt it was as overdone back then.
As it is, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that they were interesting. We were watching the one where he's just naked running through the forest.
Yeah.
And he
attacks a deer.
Yeah, a deer and just eats it alive. And I was like, yeah, if I woke up from that dream, I'd be like, hell yeah.
That was nuts.
It's going to be a good day.
Absolutely. Just like, yeah, no, and there's a whole thing of like he's not hungry in the morning. Maybe it's because they're implying that like when he first got bit, he was...
Yeah, he's like not hungry at all until full moon.
Yeah, until full moon time and he feels great. And he gets all horny. But basically, yeah, so with in terms of like where the story goes after the attack, so like David wakes up in the hospital and he's being treated by nurse Alex Price.
Yep.
In the movie, who just takes way too much of a...
She's one of those female characters that came out of Hollywood before we were, well, you know, they still do.
Yeah, no, they still do. But basically, she's just instantly like infatuated with him.
She's there to be his girlfriend for the movie.
Flirting with it to the point where, like, when he gets,
like, what do you see in this guy?
Like, when he's allowed to leave the hospital, she just takes him right to his apartment.
Yeah, an idiot.
Yeah, no, and fucking just a strange man who's very traumatized.
Yeah,
that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, basically, there's a little bit of a B plot with his doctor going to the
doing an investigation.
Doing a little investigation. He goes to the pub
that pub, by the way. I love everyone in that pub. Yeah, I love the whole atmosphere in there.
All the characters are really fun.
Of this like small scared community.
Yeah, we're scared of werewolves. They got the pentagram on the walls.
Yeah.
They got the candles, which, by the way, so immediately
they're like secretive and weird, and they never really.
Yeah.
We end up knowing like all we need to know about them. Like there's mysteries, but it's like we know.
Pretty much.
There's werewolves.
My question is, if the werewolves in this movie are pretty easy to kill. Like, all you
gotta do is shoot them. Yeah.
Yeah, there are two of them. They both get shot and killed instantly.
They're just like big animals, essentially.
Why the fuck were the villagers like so scared?
I think. Well, I don't know. I'd be pretty scared. Like, you imagine you go out to kill a werewolf. Like, you're like, yeah, I could just shoot it, but like, what if it gets like too close to me and bites me? I'm just fucked.
What I'm saying is, like, I feel like it would just be whenever a werewolf pops up, you just put together a little hunting party.
You just go out and shoot it.
And go nuts.
Yeah, I guess. It's just kind of a big dumb animal, right?
Yeah.
Like a big rabid dog, essentially.
Yeah, pretty nuts.
There's really nothing that like supernatural about it once it's turned.
Yeah. What do you think of the final werewolf creature design in this movie? Like when
torn.
At the end, you see it. They kind of give you like little glimpses of it throughout.
I think it's so strange of like a silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in it, and I'm drawn to it, but on the other hand, it looks kind of goofy and dumb.
Yeah, the more we see of it, the less kind of I think it's scariest in this movie when like we get really fast, violent shots.
Yeah, of its face like lunging at the camera and stuff.
Yeah, like the first time we see the initial werewolf attack, I think is the best one when Jack gets attacked and killed by like the before werewolf who we never really learned anything about.
Yeah, the bald man.
The bald man. Like, and you know, it's that same design, but he's just like getting all of his shit fucked up and his flesh is being torn. And I feel like the sound design in this movie is really good as well.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's a very well edited movie.
Yeah, I think to my ears, I don't know if this is true, but like, it sounds like they definitely mix in like human screams and human voices into,
which is smart. Yeah,
the werewolf noise, and it's really unsettling. But yeah, no, like when you get these like kind of quick shots of its head moving really fast.
Yeah, it's a scary face.
Yeah, it's a scary face. I think for me, it's like the proportions with the body at the end, and like the way it moves and the way it walks feels like really, like kind of puts you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
I get that.
And another thing too that they could have done is that I feel like the lighting and there isn't really. They don't really do anything particularly special with the lighting in this movie.
Yeah, well, it's not very stylized at all. Like it looks like a John Landis movie, like a comedy. Like it's lit very flatly.
Yeah, like there isn't really anything dynamic going on with the visuals in that sense.
Yeah.
Like even at the beginning, we had commented like they're supposed to be walking through this like these like dark, like it's supposed to be pitch black in the middle of the night in the countryside, and they're standing in a giant well lit circle. Well-lit.
Yeah, it's very workman-like. I don't know. I wasn't really, it didn't really draw my attention to, like, it being flat. I think it I don't know.
What I'm saying is the creature design could have been helped by, like, it being more in the shadows or, like, them being more creative with, like,
being
how
more,
it's
like,
lit.
artistically shot.
Like, even, I think that's an advantage that, movie we just watched, that Dog Soldiers, like which part of it might be just due to the fact that like they didn't necessarily have the budget to be super well lit.
Yeah.
But I feel like they utilized the shadows and like the environment in a much better way than this movie did.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like I think the main thing with this movie is like the makeup and effects outside of the werewolf, and in particular like just the werewolf transformation scene is just a feat of practical effects.
No, I mean that's what this movie's like best known for, right?
Yeah, I mean part of it, it would be more cheesy if I think the actor, is it David Naughton? Yeah, David Naughton, who plays David in this movie, like his performance in that scene is so fucking captivating to me.
Being a vampire is a fantasy. Being a werewolf, especially this kind of werewolf,
fucking sucks.
Literally, like his friend was trying to convince him to kill himself beforehand. I feel like if he would have explained how bad it's going to hurt when you transform, it would have been a lot easier to convince him to kill himself.
Yeah.
I would have just killed myself.
It's one of those things that, like, I feel like
it looks so painful.
Exactly. Like, he's just screaming his head off, and he's like
begging
for help.
Yeah.
And it's the scene is also juxtaposed really well with the song.
Yeah. Oh, it makes it so disturbing. Because it's like this cheer... Like usually that kind of like ironic needle drop in the background, like I'll think like, oh, that's cool, that's like it works. This time it was like genuinely unsettling, just watching this person just suffer so loudly while this is music is playing.
Pleasant song, this pleasant Sam Cooke song is playing,
and that's all we hear. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, no,
very
it's
well
really
done. Yeah,
down to like there's so many little things. I remember I watched the behind the scenes, kind of talking about how they did all of it. Like there's a close-up scene where you see the hair growing out of the skin, and that's literally all it was like they took like thread and pulled
reverse shot.
Reverse shot. Yeah, they pulled it through like a rubber material and they just played it in reverse to make it look like it was growing. And like
I love that he's just like sitting reading a book and then it's just like
and then just all of a sudden
like you're having like a thunderclap headache. It's scary, dude, because like what do? You just suffer and like let it happen.
Yeah, there's I mentioned Being Human a few times before I mentioned it when we were talking about Dog Soldiers, but like I feel like that show also really, the British version in particular, really sells like the pain of it. And like there's a character who, he's not the main werewolf, but he meets another werewolf along the way, this like who seems like an older guy, and he tells him like, how old are you? Like, oh, I'm 33, but he looks like he's in his like 50s or 60s
because it just ages you so much.
And he's like, yeah, you know, when you have the equivalent of a heart attack 12 times a year, it wears on you. You know?
Yeah, no, he just, this whole thing just seems so, and I think this is my preferred version of these kinds of like classical monsters where it's just a curse.
Yeah.
Like it's a tragedy that this happened to you. Like this isn't some cool thing about you. Like a lot of this movie is like him trying to figure out how he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, that's true. That is like a big part of his like plot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a good point.
No, I mean, it's like played for laughs half the time too. It's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. It's got this really dark sense of humor.
It is like a very dark humor film. Like in the scene in the porn theater when all the ghosts of the people who he's killed.
he killed the night before.
Is like saying different ways. Like you could drown yourself.
Yeah,
like,
drown
get
yourself.
a gun.
Use a gun for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It does get like really dark, and it does have this like this is making me kind of want to rewatch some of John Landis's other films, because as far
I
as
wasn't expecting it to be just like a dark comedy.
Yeah, I gotta look back at some of his other films, because the movie of his that I'm probably most familiar with is
Mine's Blues Brothers, I think.
For me, it's Coming to America.
Right.
Is probably the one that I'm most familiar with. But his humor, for me, it's kind of hard to pin down, and it's something that I didn't find super funny when I was a kid, but now, like, I kind of like
it's humor for grown-ups.
Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of love the juxtaposition of, like, really serious things are happening, but
it's a movie.
but it's a movie. Like, there's a moment in this movie that in particular I was trying to think of where I'm like, oh, that's such a John Landis moment.
Oh, it was in the porn theater, and because this guy runs in like during the porn scene and is like, "I can't believe you do this," or something that.
In the porn, like in the, yes, because it's happening in the porn scene. You're right. I remember now. In the porno, they're watching, like, the couple's having sex, and then, like, another man walks in, like a big buff dude, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing? You said you wouldn't do that." And then she's like, "I've never met you before." And he's like, "Oh,
sorry,
wrong room," and walks out, and then they just continue to have sex. And that's, like, such a John Landis.
Like, that's in the movie. Like, this is in this horror movie.
Yeah. And David just goes, "Wow, good movie."
Yeah.
It's such, like, a weird, like, I don't know, removal. It kind of reminds me of, have you ever seen the Wet Hot American Summer movies? Or sorry, the movie and then any of the shows?
Nope, never.
They're amazing. David Wayne, one of my favorite comedy, whereas like he's just there's something about that form of comedy where like people are just weird. Everyone's just kind of weird.
Yeah. And
you're going along with it. Like there's an amazing. The opening of like one of the movies is like they're waiting for Paul Rudd's character Andy is like the badass of the group, and like he's like, "Where's Andy? He's late." And you see him rolling on a motorcycle, and then like he jumps off the motorcycle and it just crashes into a tree, and he's just like, "I'm late." Like that kind of, I don't know, like that kind of humor just gets me, and I feel like John Landis is kind of an early adopter of that kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's weird. I wasn't expecting nearly as much humor in this movie.
Yeah,
but I also didn't expect it to be written and directed by John Landis. So,
he directed the Twilight Zone movie.
Yep.
What the? Oh, not all of it.
Let's talk about how like brief this movie is too.
Yeah, it's pretty damn. I'm pretty sure it's 91 minutes.
Yeah, he gets attacked by the werewolf in this town after being warned like 3 times not to do exactly what he does, and then he wakes up in London, and then he's warned to kill himself before he becomes a werewolf. Becomes a werewolf, goes out and kills like
3 or 4 people,
like 6 people or something.
6 people, the 3 homeless men, the dude, and the couple.
Wakes up in the zoo, has some naked hijinks where he tries to get home. Realizes he's a vampire. Realizes he's a werewolf. Decides he needs to kill himself. Then all of a sudden he transforms into a werewolf and gets shot by the cops and dies.
And then that's
credits
the movie. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my! And like when I say that in one sentence, like that's how fast it feels. Like there's the scene in the porno theater when he's talking to his dead friend and his victims, and they're like talking about how he should kill himself. In that theater, he transforms back into a werewolf. And starts attacking people.
There's a great shot of his werewolf nails coming out of his human nails.
Oh my god, it looks so painful.
Yeah. No,
he's like screaming, and this like weirdo is just like standing and watching him, and he's like, "Please go away."
It's one of those things where it's like having practical effects there, and like having like I don't know necessarily how it was done with this, but like having the visual aid of like the makeup and stuff really just. I can imagine just like helps an actor sell a performance so much more versus like something like I don't know if you've seen the Benicio del Toro Wolfman movie.
No.
But like so the werewolf itself is like for the most part is like practical, like it's a makeup, but all the transformations are completely CGI.
Yeah.
And like bad CGI, and they don't
It's
have
like Van Helsing.
yeah, like they don't have the power,
That's there's such a difference when you see light actually reacting to a physical object than like even modern CGI. It's still pretty easy to tell.
Yeah. It's for me, I think it's less about like how visual, like I think it's less about how amazing something looks like, because something like Avatar: The Way of Water, like that one of the most beautiful movies ever made, but I feel like you can tell that the real actors that are standing there, like the people who are interacting with like these CGI objects and creatures, you can tell they're just looking at a tennis ball in a blue room.
Yeah.
Like you can
Absolutely.
Whereas like versus I think about like when Ripley sees the Alien Queen for the first time, or like she's fighting the Alien Queen in Aliens, like that thing is actually fucking there.
Yeah. I think I also think that for me, it's not like I don't think practical effects necessarily look more real. But for me, even if I can tell that it's fake, I'm still in awe that someone actually built and sculpted and like animated this thing in a way that like had to physically move and like rip and like whereas like I don't think any layman understands computer effects to such a degree where you can appreciate how impressive they are. So I think I'm just more entertained by the concept of like this is like a piece of art that's like moving.
Yeah, you can understand like building a thing.
Yeah, sure. I think it's just like a limitation of my brain more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing too where it's like with any kind of practical effect, more than just like how it actually looks, it's just how you're utilizing it in a scene. Like I think that's a big strength of I mean, this movie and Dog Soldiers and like all the movies you talk about, like Tremors, like where like the way that you shoot these objects and like how you show them and like what parts you hide and what parts like you're exemplifying. It's like it just makes all the difference with like the final result. I think about this a lot in terms of like if I ever get to make my movie, because I've had like a short film script and like a feature of like this one concept that would involve a creature. Like a big part of me is always just like, I would just have to nail the creature. Honestly, like we said about Dog Soldiers, if those things were CGI, then the movie would just be not worth watching. No. You wouldn't feel anything. Yeah. It's all about feeling that something's actually there. Yeah. A good creature can really go a long way. Like there's you ever heard of the movie The Watch with Ben Stiller? It's like a comedy Vince Vaughn. It's a pretty mediocre movie. It's basically about like Ben Stiller forms like a neighborhood watch thing after like somebody broke into the Costco.
Yeah.
And they find out that there's like a secret alien invasion happening in their small town. And I remember when I saw the movie, it was kind of mediocre. And then you see like the alien for the first time, and you're like, "Whoa, that's actually a cool."
Really?
Like it's cool. And it's like practical for the most part too.
That's cool.
And I'm like, "Oh shit, that actually looks pretty fucking
sick." It sounds like a Cornetto trilogy movie.
Yeah, it would be. There is definitely a British version of that.
Yeah,
for sure.
It reminds me of like World's End or something like that.
Yeah. But we were talking about the Cornetto trilogy a lot with both of these movies.
Yeah, kind of.
Because
it's interesting.
British humor and like British culture is definitely like a big part.
This movie is all about like an American's perception of what England is.
Exactly. Like everyone.
One of his victims is the most British man you could think of.
Yeah.
I think he hears like a noise in the subway and he's like, "I can assure you this isn't the least bit amusing. I shall be contacting the authorities.
I shall be writing."
And that was absolutely like for laughs. Like this guy is the most like posh British man.
I've got to report this. Yeah, no. It's like I love British humor. This experience that has definitely made me want to revisit the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, I love those movies.
Especially Shaun of the Dead. Like
Shaun of the Dead is the one that I like grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
The other two I watched as an adult. I think I like World's End a little more than Hot Fuzz, which I know is an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, we talked about it. Where it's like Hot Fuzz is what most people think is like the best one, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just never really connected with me that hard.
For me, it's been a while since I've seen them, and in my opinion, probably will change on it. But for me, World's End has always been my favorite. Then Shaun of the Dead, then Hot Fuzz.
Interesting.
And the World's End, and I know like I feel like if I was more objective, I'd say Shaun of the Dead was the best. But I just like in terms of like the themes and like I love all the closure.
Yeah.
And also I think that the World's End has like some incredible fight scenes. Like it, like honestly, some of the bar fights in that movie remind me of like Scott Pilgrim or something. Just in terms of like how
same director.
Exactly. Yeah, and how like stylized and how much energy. A lot of them have like, and Nick Frost is a fucking gladiator in that movie, like ripping robots' heads off.
Yeah, we just need to have a whole day. We just watch all three.
A Cornetto trilogy episode would be cool. I used to watch those movies every year on my birthday.
Really?
Like that was
all three?
All
wow.
three. Yeah, I'd marathon them. That was a tradition of mine.
It takes a big chunk out of your day.
Yeah, but I don't know, I haven't done it in a couple of years because like I started finding The World's End kind of like hard to watch. In terms of just, I don't know, the themes are just kind of heavy.
Make you sad, kind of deal.
A little bit, but
yeah.
I don't know. Shaun of the Dead was always the one I could throw on. That'd be the easiest to.
Yeah, I like Shaun of the Dead a lot. I like that. I like the atmosphere in that movie a lot.
I think Shaun of the Dead is the funniest. I think The World's End has the best story in action, and I think that Hot Fuzz, if all of Hot Fuzz was like the last 30 minutes of Hot Fuzz, I would think Hot Fuzz would be the best. Because I think from the moment he's in that gas station and he like looks at like the DVD of Point Break on the shelf, I'm like, okay, it's fucking on. But before then, it's kind of like it's basically like a parody detective story kind of thing. I think when it comes down to it, I feel like the kind of movie that they're parodying in Hot Fuzz are not the kinds of movies that I like as much as horror, Shaun of the Dead, and sci-fi with The World's End.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Hot Fuzz, I might find Hot Fuzz funnier than the other two. But it is also, I think, my least favorite, which is ironic. I don't know why. I'd have to rewatch him to give you the full scoop on that.
Yeah, I just think that, I don't know, I feel like Simon Pegg's character, like I feel like the characters are the weakest in that movie in terms of like how they're written. Like I think that Nick Angel and I think Danny is Nick Frost's character. Like I think the characters are the least interesting.
Yeah, that's fair.
In that one versus like I feel like their dynamic in Shaun of the Dead and The World's End is really good. Also, another thing I really like about The World's End too is that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost get to switch their types in it, because in the first two movies,
that is cool to see. That caught me off guard.
Yeah, like because like in the first two movies, like Simon Pegg is the straight man.
Yeah. In
the relationship, and Nick Frost is kind of like the goofy weirdo. Whereas, like, you know, they get to switch it where it's like, you know, Simon Pegg's like the fuck up goofy weirdo.
Yeah. And
Nick Frost is like the straight laced dude.
Which is weird.
Yeah,
weird to see.
It's kind of like the whole thing of like, you know, these two guys who are like, we're such close friends. They get to grow. They've grown into the opposites of what they were, you know?
Yeah.
It's just interesting. But back to American Werewolf in London.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about. So, yeah, so he wakes up at the zoo. He goes to the porn theater. Yeah, there isn't really
there's a whole like antics sequence with him waking up naked at the zoo.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like he parkours out of that cage real quick.
Yeah, it's like all one shot. Like it's actually him climbing up and out of there naked in broad daylight.
You'd think the zoo security would fucking catch him.
Nah.
But yeah, and then he's naked running around the park, and
he approaches a little boy.
And
says, "Come here, little boy. I'll give you a pound."
Steals his balloon. And then the little boy goes up to a woman and is like, "A naked American man stole my balloons." He
steals like a lady's coat.
It's a nice coat that he steals.
It's like a funny, like it's like half the screen time in this movie is dedicated to being funny. It's weird.
It is like a goofy comedy. It's making me want to rewatch Animal House. As far as like some of this like kind of awkward, like I think I know what it is. I think it's like somebody being absurdist.
Yeah.
In what would be like a normal situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like how John Landis does it. I guess I don't understand how some other people like. I feel like that's we talked about Eric Andre. I just don't get Eric Andre.
Just don't get it.
And I'm pretty sure from what I understand, like that's kind of his thing. Is like being ridiculous in like mundane situations. Kind
of, I guess. Yeah. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just an overall absurdity. It's almost like punk rock comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I loved the ending of this movie.
Mm-hmm. What about the ending did you love so much?
So in the ending of this, he's a werewolf and he's fucking shit up. And it's like in Piccadilly Circus, like it's like downtown. Mm-hmm. And like he like retreats into an alley, and his girlfriend like walks up to him and like tries to calm him down, and he like lunges at his girlfriend, and the cops shoot him and kill him. And we see his naked dead body, and then credits roll.
Mm-hmm. Very suddenly.
Very abruptly. And I think I absolutely adore when a movie knows exactly, like, you want to leave the theater now. Like, like, I hate a long resolution in a movie. Like, say what you're going to say, show me how it ends, and then just, like, let me, like, assume where everyone ends up after that.
Return of the King has, like, 9 endings.
Oh, my God. Like Endgame and stuff, like just like I saw the end. I hate that feeling like after the climax of a movie and being like, oh, now we have to like check in on everybody and see like where everyone ended up.
Yeah.
No, I love like so many good movies. Like Hateful Eight is another good example.
Mm-hmm.
So is like honestly all Tarantino stuff ends that way where it's just like the last scene. There's a final confrontation. It's resolved. Credits roll. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah.
Tarantino especially is good at that, just in terms of like a lot of his. He likes to mess with time a lot in his movies.
Yeah.
In terms of like when events take place and whatnot, or I guess in more of his earlier. But he kind of hasn't done it in a lot of his newer shit. Like I feel like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Do it as much.
I'm glad that didn't end up being like his whole thing.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of. Come into like his epic era, I guess.
Yeah.
And like his early movie, like I just.
Well, I mean, he's just got like infinite budget.
That's true. Now he can really just do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yes.
I don't know, but I like the tightness of his early, like Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs in particular. Like
I think Kill Bill's a bad example of that.
I haven't seen Kill Bill in a long time. Yeah. It's been a minute, but
essentially a 5-hour movie.
Yeah. But no, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction are really tight, really efficient. And both of those movies also like are not told in linear fashion whatsoever. Like it's kind of both those movies are kind of like we're fast forwarding to all the good bits, you know, like all the most interesting.
The best, honestly, just cut the fat. Like we were talking about, what was it? Game of Death. Mm-hmm. There's a 30-minute version.
A 30-minute cut. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea for like most movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean that. Is really just more out of necessity. Like I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it soon, but that's just out of necessity in terms of, like they didn't have the footage, you know.
Yeah.
Like before he passed.
I just think so many movies are done a disservice by the minimum runtime of a feature film being an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. I think so many movies could be made better if they were just 40 minutes long.
Yeah, like some movies there should be a space for a short film.
Yeah,
I guess like where it's like we have like a good idea, and let's just do it. Like something like
they should just be able to screen them in theaters.
Yeah,
you'd be able to get more ticket sales. I don't know.
Donald Glover made a movie that's like around that length that went to Prime. Let me see if I can find.
I don't understand why they don't go to theaters.
You ever heard of Guava Island?
No.
It's a 56-minute movie. It's not like a TV thing. Like it's like a movie that Donald Glover made, and it's like kind of this story, and it was fucking great. I loved it. I just
I hate just adding scenes and stuff to movies to hit a runtime. Mm-hmm. Whenever it's so hard for me when I write a script to even make it to 90 pages. Like I don't like I know what I want to say, and like I'm not saying I'm a good writer, but like I'm not, just like just say it and then get out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we just hit the standard of like, at some point somebody made the standard of like you are a feature film if you're about 90 minutes. I think the official cutoff
That's
is
the
like,
official, yeah.
I think the official cutoff is like 85 minutes, but like about 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I hate that.
Like 30 minutes per act about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's we're past that at this point.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like
Brevity.
an hour and a half for me is like a perfect amount of time for a movie. I love short movies.
Yeah, me too.
Like
I like long movies though too.
It depends. It's like I've been this week I've been trying to finish Seven Samurai.
Even trying to finish
I've been
it.
trying to finish it, but it's just
We'll do it for an episode.
Yeah, it's just so long and like it's not none of it's like bad necessarily, but it kind of feels like 7 fucking movies together. And we keep
I've never seen it.
We keep coming back to like plots and characters. I'm like, oh yeah, these fuckers.
Yeah.
And I gotta watch it from the beginning.
I think my headphones are unplugged.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
1 second. Yeah, I accidentally kicked it. This shit's loose. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you come back to it, but it's like I don't know. That's a part of another reason why I loved Sword of Doom. Like I've talked about it a lot. Like it's like an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's pretty slick. And then
Yeah, man.
Yojimbo is also, we haven't seen it yet, but Yojimbo is also short.
Yeah.
Which
I
I'm
mean,
looking forward to watching.
Unless you are like a Scorsese or like a Paul Thomas Anderson or like Tarantino, where like I know that you have the talent and the voice and the craft to actually like make all 3 hours of this movie entertaining, then I know you don't have enough to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just all about, the execution. Like, Killers of the Flower Moon does not feel like
No.
like 3.5 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That movie feels so much quicker than it actually
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucking time travel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, like that's just masterful filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like you need to earn that runtime, in my opinion.
Exactly.
If not, I don't think there's anything wrong with making like a 30-minute movie. Whatever authorities are in charge of the of films disagrees, but
that's what Predator should have been. It should have been just that samurai fight. It should have been just the build up.
Yeah, Predators. Yeah, absolutely.
To the samurai fight.
Yep, just should have been a samurai movie.
Indeed. Okay, American Werewolf in London. What prop do you want?
I want the back, the hairy back.
The hairy back.
Yeah. They pull the hair through.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh,
hanging on the wall.
That's a very good one. I don't know. I'm trying to decide. Maybe Mickey Mouse in the living room.
Hey, how's it going?
Of Alex's apartment, staring at him while he transforms.
Oh, that's so good.
That's up there. Or maybe actually, I want one of them puffy coats.
Yeah, one of his puffy coats. Those look cozy.
They do look cozy. They look very warm.
Yeah.
Which, they were just like walking in the middle of the night while it was just to nowhere.
Those idiots, dude.
Yeah, fucking dumbasses.
They show up. Everyone tells them don't go walking in the moors.
And they do exactly
What
that.
do they do?
Yeah.
They go off the path and start walking in the moors.
Fucking idiots.
Don't go in the moors, kids.
Yeah. But no, great VFX. Well, I guess that is great makeup and effects.
Yeah.
I
liked it a lot.
Yeah. I'm assuming, just based off how we've been talking, would you say that you enjoyed this movie more than Dog Soldiers?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Dog Soldiers was a really fun watch. I think this movie was smarter.
Yeah, no, this movie definitely had more going on.
Yeah.
Kind of just more. Yeah, I like kind of how abstract some of it is. Like, I love all the dream sequences. Like, I'm a big sucker for.
Yeah. He loves The Sopranos.
Yeah. Oh, no, I love all the dream sequences
of The Sopranos.
Sopranos. Oh my god, I still laugh at
anyway. $4 a pound.
When he has his horse in the living room. He was like, "You can't bring your horse in here." Oh well, if I want.
Kyle of Sopranos.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, that's my comfort show for sure.
Same here.
Still need to watch the. I still need to watch the movie.
Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it yet. I'm afraid to.
Why?
I'm afraid of it killing The Sopranos for me.
It doesn't. No, it didn't for me. I thought it was an okay movie, it has like it's not gonna. It's a prequel set so far before The Sopranos that it might as well not even be related to The Sopranos.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, on The Sopranos note, what did you think of American Werewolf in London? Your overall view?
My overall view, it's like it's tough because there are definitely like I love certain scenes. I love all of the effects. I think it's got an interesting soundtrack.
You didn't seem super hot on it.
No, it's like it didn't have. I think my biggest problem is I didn't find myself getting attached to any of the characters really.
Interesting.
Like I didn't find any of the. I didn't really attach myself to anyone or particularly care about anyone. I feel like for me, Jack is the Jack to me is a character that has the most. I don't know. He has like the biggest reason for me to like him. I guess like his.
You didn't like the protagonist?
David's okay, but it's like I don't know.
I mean, he's kind of just like I think every guy that age in 1981 was kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
So I think he's just kind of that.
Yeah, he is kind of that, but it's like I don't know. Like just thinking about like. I felt like they didn't give me enough time to care about any of the characters, like to learn about them before
I don't know.
Shit happens.
I think it was enough for me to just feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I think his performance in the scenes where it needs to be tense and serious is great, and I think like the movie, I think it really does a good job of like when it's being kind of lighthearted and weird John Landis-y to when it gets like really violent.
Yeah.
Like is done very well.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I don't know what more this movie could have needed for me, but like it just maybe
wasn't your kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it just I guess when it comes down to it, it wasn't my favorite thing. Like I don't know. I've never been super hot on all of. It's been a while since I've seen Blues Brothers. A lot of what I love about Coming to America doesn't necessarily have to do with John Landis's like style or comedy, like it more has to do with like Eddie Murphy and how funny I think he is in that movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, I'll revisit some of his other movies and I'll get back to you about it. But yeah, like I can't really put my finger on it, but I don't know.
Interesting.
I just had more fun with Dog Soldier. I'd rather watch Dog Soldiers than this, personally.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about next, buddy?
Next ep.
Next ep. Let's do Bronson.
Bronze. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. We'll do.
I bring it up enough.
Yeah. That way I can get all the references and points.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about Bronson next.
Hell yeah.
And Saltburn's coming out, and then the Oscars are happening soon. We'll do.
Oh yeah, Oscars.
Yeah, and we got to talk about doing what were we talking about doing a game stream of? Aliens Fire Team.
Alien Colonial Marine. Yeah, Fire Team. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a live stream of that, folks at home. Maybe you'll get to see that.
I'd love to start streaming.
That'd be fun. We'll do a little Twitch.
Hell yeah!
If y'all are interested. Anyway, yeah, this has been Midnight Movie Gang. It's almost midnight. It's 11:52. It's
11:52 Movie Gang.
It's 8 minutes till Midnight Movie Gang. Have a nice night, folks.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Please tell me where this is going. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. What could I have done in here? 3 tickets to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think? Special agent.